stops, no one knows. We're going head into the unknown. Na, 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 na.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. Looks like we already have a verdict in the case of Tennessee versus Megan Boswell. So the verdict is being currently read by the foreperson, but the judge had ordered no audio of the verdict, and he's going to read the verdict after they're done. So she is crying, but, you know, I don't know what that, we don't know why yet. So we're waiting for them to get through the verdict on 20 different counts, and then the judge will read the verdict. So good morning. Thank you guys for being here. I'm supposed to be leaving here in like 3 minutes to take boys to school. And so I switched with my husband because he takes the girl to school. And so he was not prepared, and he just looked at me like, you got to be kidding me right now. T, the cameraman, is feeding it to Julie on court TV, guilty on all counts so far. Okay, let's go take a look at that then. No spoilers, Indiana girl. Jeez, thanks. I'm just joking. Guilty of first-degree murder. Guilty of first-degree murder. Let me see if there's another one. I'll pull up another stream and see. Yeah, that was actually pretty quick. Guilty of first-degree murder. I mean, I can't say I disagree. So I know other people are like, there's still too many questions out there, but
to report a death under suspicion, unusual or unnatural circumstance.
Here, let me see. Let's back this one up.
Count 14.
That's weird. Hold on. That's weird. Why is this one not doing that?
Again, we are not hearing the jury foreman. We're getting this relayed to us through our Liam Bridgman, who's in a media room.
All right, let's see.
Foreman, we're getting this relayed to us through our Liam Bridgman, who's in a media.
Yeah, the judge is going to repeat it, but
Foreman, we're getting this relayed to us through our Liam Bridgman, who's in a media room. The all audio coming
guilty on
from
all
the
charges.
courtroom is muted right now.
Count 14. False reporting. Guilty.
Also, for note, the incident there on February the 20th of 2020. We have a
wonder if they relayed all the other ones too. Let me back up and see. Looks like she's found guilty on every count. 19 counts. Yep, Callie. They're just not they're not airing the audio of it live while the foreman reads it. The judge is going to read them after they're done, which we have up on this one. So jury's leaving the courtroom. All right, we'll let him read it to us then. But the people in the courtroom, the reporters in the courtroom, are feeding it to their affiliate stations. And so they've kind of already told the public what it was. Found guilty of murder. So, I mean, it looks like she's guilty on all counts. It's very weird that he barred the audio of the reading of the verdict.
To judgment of this court, you are guilty.
There you go.
In count 2, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of first-degree murder and the perpetration of a felony, it's a judgment of this court, you are guilty. In count 3, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of first-degree murder and the perpetration of a felony, it's a judgment of this court, you are guilty. In count 4, a judgment of your peers having found you guilty of aggravated child abuse, it's a judgment of the court, you are guilty.
Started on my phone.
In count 5, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of aggravated child neglect, it's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. In count 6, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of tampering with evidence, it's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. In count 7, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. In count 8, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. In count 9, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. In count 10, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. In count 11, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. In count 12, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. Count 13, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. Count 14, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. In count 15, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. In count 16, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. In count 17, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. In count 19, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of abuse of a corpse, it's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. And in count 20, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of failure to report a death under suspicious, unusual, or unnatural circumstances, it's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. In counts 4 through 20, the jury did not assess a fine, so there'll be no fine assessed in those counts. Now we'll be in recess about 15 minutes.
Thank you. Court stands in recess.
Hot damn. They didn't give her any fines? Is that what he said? Or are they going to be coming back for that part?
Having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. Count 13, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. Count 14, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. In count 15, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. In count 16, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. In count 17, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. In count 19, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of abuse of a corpse, it's a judgment of the court, you are guilty.
The
And
jury.
in count 20, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of failure to report a death under suspicious, unusual, or unnatural circumstances, it's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. In counts 4 through 20, the jury did not assess a fine, so there'll be no fine assessed in those.
There you go.
cases.
That jury didn't
Now
give
we'll
her a
be in
fine.
recess about 15 minutes.
Thank you.
Yep. So
Court stands
recess.
in recess.
Recess for 15 minutes. And then they should go straight to sentencing. Damn. All right, let's see what else we got out here. Let me show you guys. Hold on. Let me show you guys the We'll leave that. I'll leave that playing so we know when they come back. But this defense attorney, Mr. Scott, went and did a couple of interviews after closing arguments yesterday. And while the jury was in deliberation, and I was just kind of floored by.
Thank you, Alex. Jurors have began deliberation in the murder trial of Megan Boswell. Megan Boswell, the only person who faces any charges in the death of her baby daughter, Evelyn. Those charges include first-degree murder and felony murder. News Channel 11's Ansley Daniel joins us now live from Sullivan County with defense attorney Gene Scott. Ansley?
Yeah, Casey, I'm standing by here with Megan Boswell's attorney, Gene Scott. Thanks so much for taking the time to talk with us right now.
Glad to.
Well, first off, this morning, a lot of folks were curious as to whether or not Megan Boswell was going to take the stand herself. Talk to me a little bit about why she did not.
We gave it a lot of thought and were at one point leaning toward doing it, but after the medical examiners testified yesterday, I don't feel the state's proved their case, at least it's the cause of death, and we don't feel it was necessary.
And I know that right now jurors are deliberating. So talk to me a little bit about what you hope they're really considering right now and really mulling over inside that jury room.
I hope they're considering all the evidence, but in particular, I hope they're considering the testimony from both medical examiners and the fact of the latex gloves found in the trash can with the child that had male DNA on them.
And I know there's been obviously a lot of talk about Hunter Wood here in this. And this morning, prosecutors brought forth a piece of, paper from the state of Virginia that, talked about his involuntary, commitment to the mental institute there. But let's talk a little bit about why you want his name to, be said in this trial.
I don't think the only reason his name come up was because that's what Megan talked to Brian Fraley about in her interview. So that's why his name is in this trial. That's in evidence. And the thing about that interview is she was, they initially charged her with a false report in that count. They dismissed that count. And so it's our position that her interview with the TBI was truthful.
And let's talk a little bit about that. I know that you did raise a question in the beginning about why she said, that night she gave them that confession, if you will, but they didn't go to the property until a couple of days later.
I don't have an answer to that. I know they had searched the property on the 23rd with cadaver dogs, and maybe that's why they didn't think it was fruitful.
And I know that a lot of folks have been having their eyes on this trial. Talk to me a little bit about what you want people at home to know.
I just want people at home to know that maybe Megan has been painted with the wrong brush. The girl that's sitting in there beside me in the courtroom, she's not the girl that you're seeing on the videos from 5 years ago.
And what do you want people to know about who she is today?
I think she's a nice young woman. I hope she has a full life ahead of her.
All right. Well, Gene Scott, thank you so much. And again, we expect jurors to be.
I think she's a nice woman. It just cracks me up. I think she's a nice woman. Well, no, she's a murderer. But to each their own. Oh, hold on. There was another one. He does one with Ashley. He does one with Ashley Banfield. But I'm telling you guys, listening to her in this interview. I mean, she's already just gotten so bad as it is, but listening to her in this interview, I'm like, okay, you're not even making sense anymore.
That was Megan Boswell's defense attorney, Gene Scott, who happens to be live with me right now. Mr. Scott, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate this. I've got so many questions for you, starting with this. Casey Anthony's case, we can all agree there were so many parallels, but her attorneys went to great lengths in court to put on this whole alternate theory. It took weeks and weeks to hear out that whole alternate theory, and she was acquitted. You chose to not put any witnesses on, any alternate theories in front of this jury with evidence and with witnesses. Why is that?
It was our decision at the time. We felt like we ended yesterday on a high note. The state put on 2 medical examiners. The first one, she went through a lot of proof with about what could have caused the death. And she ultimately, although she was she wavered a lot, I felt like she contradicted her report. And I felt like she opened the possibility that she said it could have been from SIDS, it could have been from a rollover, and it could have been from an accident. So I felt good about that. The other,
Like, talk about hearing what you want to hear, because that's like not what she testified to. They both testified that she died from asphyxiation. And the first medical examiner, the one that actually did the autopsy, was very clear on the fact that that's not what she would say. Yes, it's possible, but that's not what she would say. So even though she was nicer about it than the other lady, she still said that's not what she would say. That's not what she would conclude. Yeah, no, she didn't. You did that. That's what you said.
other medical examiner they put on was very evasive, but finally, after being threatened with contempt of court for not answering questions, she finally stated that, in fact, she could not conclude where the child was when she died. Specifically, was the child wrapped in the blanket in tinfoil? She could not conclude that. So I felt like we ended on a high note, so we didn't put on proof.
Here's where I see you got to admit that there's just a lot of bad facts for your client, right? That's what we call them. In this business, we call them bad facts. And
in this business, we call them bad facts. So have you guys ever heard that term? Like, there's a lot of bad facts against your client. Like, in this business, that's what we call them. We talking about Ashley Beigefield. They're beige, always wearing beige.
And the jury is not immune to that. Why not call the boyfriend? His name is Hunter Wood. If there was some accidental rollover, would Hunter Wood not answer those questions the way maybe you'd want the jury to hear?
The boyfriend, Hunter Wood, is unavailable. He is in a mental hospital in Marion, Virginia. Both the state and I have tried to obtain his presence. We were unable to do that.
What about mom and dad, Megan Boswell's family members? Would they?
Mom does say bad facts, but she's a journalist. She's not an attorney. She said in this business.
They have taken the stand to help her navigate, at least help the jury navigate through Megan's versions of the story?
They weren't present. Her dad did take the stand. He was one of the first witnesses the state called. If you'll recall, he was the witness who he reported Evelyn missing sometime, I think, in February of 2018, or 2020, I'm sorry, February 18th of 2020.
But he wouldn't get on the stand to back her and keep her from a murder conviction?
Well, there would be no reason to call him. He wasn't there when the child died. He couldn't say one way or the other what happened to the child.
Well, he might be able to testify to the lying and why. It feels as though and I sat through the entire Casey Anthony case, verdict, everything, jury selection, you name it. It felt like that jury needed to hear something other than what the prosecutors laid out. And Jose Baez and team, they gave that. They handed the jury a whole other way that it could have happened. And as we know, we were all gobsmacked, right, when the jury came back with not guilty. Are you confident that's what's going to happen in your case?
I'm hopeful that's what will happen in my case. I've left this in God's hands. Megan has left this in God's hands. We put on the best defense we could.
The problem is here, Mr. Scott, is that Megan actually put it in your hands. She got really pissed off with her previous attorney and didn't want to put it in his hands. So instead, she put it in yours, and you didn't put on a defense for her. You didn't put one single witness on the stand to corroborate what you were saying happened. And not that you have to, and I don't mean that you have to, but to say that, like, I put it in God's hands, you literally left it in the prosecutor's hands.
But given the circumstances and the facts we were dealt, I felt like we were very effective with both medical examiners in being able to at least show to the jury that this is not a certainty of how the child died. And in any murder case, you need a cause of death. They don't have one. Am I certain that'll work? Absolutely not. But it was the best defense we could put on.
And of course, she did not take the stand in this case either. So I hope you will come back, Gene Scott, when we have a verdict and talk about this. I appreciate you coming on tonight. Thank you so much.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com.
I just don't understand it. I don't understand it. But, you know, I'm not. I mean, I'm happy that she was found guilty on all counts, but I still don't understand why he didn't bother to do anything for her. He just felt like he did enough to poke holes in the state's case, and I absolutely disagree. I have a defense attorney. If I have a defense attorney and he says this is in God's hands, I'm firing that attorney. Like, no, sir, I put it in your hands. I put it in your hands, and I need you to actually do something for me. He really walked away, and I know there's people in here that probably agree, but he really walked away from those Emmy testimonies thinking he'd won the case. Yeah, she does. I agree with you. You know how much I don't want to necessarily agree, but I do agree she does. And maybe he knew she was guilty. You complain about positional asphyxiation, but I saw someone who said asphyxiation and said that wasn't conclusive because could be a million ways, so maybe that one. I do complain about the positional asphyxiation, not because I actually disagree, but I just don't think they presented the evidence to a jury. Could be a million ways, so maybe that one is why they said positional. I just think there would have been evidence if it was positional. But I think they really should have stuck with the fact that, I mean, yeah, it's the blanket, the aluminum foil upside down in a trash can. I mean, the positional could have come from the blanket and the tin foil. Really, Christy? You think he did? He made like one good point with the first autopsy. See, I think that because that the actual ME that performed the autopsy was so polite and just, you know, with her Southern manners, I just feel like he thinks he got one over on her. But if you actually listen to what she said, I mean, yeah, it's possible, but I don't agree with it. Like, no, I wouldn't say that. That's not what I would say. Like, what I would say is what I put down. I agree about positional. She could have asphyxiated in bed. I'm assuming that's a typo. But positional, she would have had all the blood in her head. I didn't hear that testimony. I didn't either. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I think he browbeat the first one to say possible, but she was firm. She's like, possible, but not what I think. He's a defense attorney. 8 out of 10 are guilty. He just was paid his normal fees. He is the epitome of court-ordered attorney. Maybe my memory is not correct, but I think he's a private practice attorney who was brought on as a public defender. I don't think he actually works for a public defender's office. Just FYI. I don't know. My memory is telling me that's the case. Also, a DNA expert to say can't show Hunter's DNA at the scene as he refused to provide. Yeah, but like, I think that the prosecutor did a good job making it very clear that whether they had or didn't have Hunter's DNA, it wouldn't have mattered. She didn't have a profile to compare it to. He did a good job of saying, well, hey, there's other labs that could, which I absolutely agree with, but somebody could have determined who that male DNA belonged to. I just feel like they never proved that Hunter ever met Evelyn. And then even in his closing, he concedes to the fact that Evelyn's dead by around the 7th. You know, I still think 5th, 6th, but he concedes to the first, essentially the first week of December. Maybe you guys are right. Maybe he's just like, she is guilty and fuck it, let her, who cares? But he concedes to that she's dead the first week of December, which then in turn means she just met Hunter like 3 days before that. Indiana girl, I guess that's a thing now because they think it gives a feel to the jury. Oh, here, I'll say this again. I think he'd be a good judge because he knows the law, but he can't talk to juries or a witness. He spent his time during the trial watching the court TV feed. Well, that's because he was looking for reasons for a mistrial. He does own a private. Okay, thank you. Yeah, no, I get that's your point. I want to know how they went through all those awful jury instructions so fast. Well, this is if it were me in that, and maybe we'll hear from the jury. If it were me in that, behind closed doors with that jury, I would have gone, okay, here, let's take the very first charge, very top one, and say, let's do let's vote now. If it's unanimous, we can move on to count 2. If it's not unanimous, we'll move down to the lesser included, the first lesser included, vote there. I mean, I would have done it just like rungs on a ladder, like to be as efficient as I possibly could. If they go in there and they say, okay, they didn't go home until about 8 p.m. last night. But that's how I would have done it. I would have gone, okay, here's first degree, premeditated. Here's all the elements of that crime. Let's take a vote. I would have read through that entire charge, all the elements, said, okay, let's take a vote. Everybody's unanimous. There's no reason to go through every lesser included then. If she's guilty, then you just go down to the next one. So they obviously found her guilty on that one. Okay, so you just skip all the lesser included, move to count 2. Let's read through that. Read through it was closer to 6. I thought it was closer to 8, but okay. I don't know. I wasn't overly paying attention, and so you're probably right. And then you go to count 2, and you just go, okay, here's count 2. Let's go through all the elements and vote. And they vote, and they found her guilty. So there was no reason to go to any of the lesser included because they were like, nope, she's guilty on that count. Let's move to count 3. I think that counts, 7 through 17, all the false reporting, nobody even contested that. So it's like, okay, push those off to the side. We all know she's already guilty on those. Let it go. How can they vote guilty on all charges when one charge contradicts another? I'm not really sure how it contradicts the other. They're saying that she died from child abuse, she died from child neglect, and she died by premeditation. Those are the 3 main ones. Now, those are all murder charges, so I don't know how sentencing will go with that. Yeah, so I would say that they're gonna just go with the first degree murder, even though she's found guilty on the other one. She won't be able to be sentenced for all of them, in my opinion, if Tennessee is like Indiana. But I don't think they contradict each other because they're all different. Now, for sentencing purposes, we may see something different. Sleuthy, I tried calling you, girlfriend. Sleuthy tried to take care of you guys because I wasn't going to be able to, and then I didn't get back to her quickly. And then by the time I got back to her, she was probably busy. Carly, yep, guilty on all counts. We are awaiting sentencing. Seems like the jury had the ability to fine her for all the false reporting, but they chose not to. They're all under the murder charge, so I don't know if he's going to be able to sentence her to all 3. Yeah, that's so dumb.
Mr. Scott, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
We need to bring the defendant in.
We're preparing 2 witnesses right now. We have a witness still on the way.
So, Sleuthy, if you have time, do you want to come up? I have to leave in about, I think, about 10 minutes or so. and they're gonna put witnesses on the stand because we're going straight into sentencing. So if you want to come up and switch the stream to you so you can control it, that would be fantastic. Because I switched taking the boys with taking the girl. So, but I still gotta take her. Mike was not happy. He was like, "You gotta be kidding me! I'm not prepared for this." I wasn't either until I looked at my phone. Sleuthy said that there was a verdict. Yeah, this could take a little bit. Okay, you can. Perfect. Thank you. Okay, Sleuthy's going to switch the stream to hers. So then that way. Oh, she actually did her hair today, too. You think he can do all the things? I'll have to ask Ange.
All right. If the jury is ready, we'll bring him in.
Because I don't know why she can't start the stream or end the stream. It seems like she can do everything else except for that. He may just have Ange's login. How long did they deliberate? Well, I'd have to go back and double check, but it would be at least 3 hours. I thought it was closer to 5 hours yesterday. And then a little bit this morning, probably just to finalize everything. Thank you, Sleuthy.
Of course.
Don't you find it a little bizarre that like you didn't get to hear the jury foreperson? Like just hearing them, like I'm not gonna be able to identify them by their voice unless it's a famous person.
Well, what does it matter? He went and called everybody by name yesterday. At least by last name on some of them, but I don't like. I thought that was bizarre. I thought it was bizarre that we didn't get to actually hear them read the verdict.
I mean, they used to like show you the actual jury, then they stopped doing that, and then you could at least always. This is the first time I think I've ever not heard the jury foreperson. But then again, Gull didn't. Well, she didn't even let them read it. She read it. So if that trial had been streamed, we would have only heard her anyway. But this was just weird. I can't wait to see what.
Maybe seated. Thank you.
All right, General.
Judge, stay with him. I'm sorry.
You can do an opening statement if you would like to.
Okay. No, I stay with the opening statement.
Do you have an opening?
I do.
Okay.
Does she look upset to you?
She cried when we couldn't
Ladies and gentlemen,
hear anything.
although I may not agree with your verdict, I respect your verdict. I respect you. I thank you for your time, and I thank you for your time. And I have one more thing to ask you. You have to make a decision now, and that decision is it's going to mean the difference. If you sentence Megan Boswell to life in prison, she'll be released when she is probably 69 years old. It'll be 8. She's been in jail. You probably realize she has been in jail since she was 18 years old. She went to jail February 25th of 2020, and she hasn't been released. So with that said, if you give her a life sentence, it would be 51 years. That's what I'm asking you to do. If you give her a life without sentence, she will never be released from prison. That's the difference. So it'd be the difference between her being released at what I believe would be 69 to 70 years old or never being released. In doing this process, and Judge Goodwin,
I'd rather just die.
Very short jury instructions compared to what you heard yesterday. you look at statutory aggravating factors and mitigating factors. In this case, the state will submit the age of the child as the aggravating factor. Our mitigating factors, we've listed several of those. They include no significant criminal history, her youth and age at the time the offense was committed. She was 17 when she had Evelyn. She was 18 when Evelyn died. You'll hear more about her unstable and chaotic home life. You'll hear from her mother, Angela Boswell. She's here today. You'll hear from Angela about domestic violence that Megan witnessed between her parents. You'll hear from Angela about drug use that Megan witnessed her parents engage in. You also hear about her schooling. It wasn't seamless, and how one of her primary role models was her grandfather, Tommy Boswell's father. He died when I think she was 11 or 12 years old. You'll hear that. And then finally, you'll hear a little bit about her younger siblings, Elijah and Charlotte. Elijah has a disability that Megan has looked after him and tried to help take care of him. And then you're also feel free to look at any other thing you've heard in the proof and making that decision as far as mitigating factor. Anything else you've heard in all the proof from any of the witnesses. And also you'll probably hear from Gail Kite. You've heard from her once before, but you'll hear a little bit more from her about the shape Megan was in when she came into her home. And you'll hear from
I'm sorry, I feel compelled to say this, so I just want to say it like real quick. But like, unfortunately, there are a lot of people in the world who have been raised in, grown up in, and are living similar circumstances, and they don't kill anyone. I just want to throw that out there. I think that there are legitimate, like, not reasons, but like precursors to someone committing a crime like that. And I just think that blaming it on how you were raised is not, because a lot of people have been through the same thing. That's all I'll say.
Agreed.
To call Mary Boswell. She is Megan's grandmother. I think most of you recognize the name Old Mommy at this point. You'll hear from her and what she witnessed and her participation in raising Megan. So it's a hard decision. It's not a light decision. You've made a hard decision already. And it's my hope that after you see this, you will come to the conclusion that maybe at 69 years old, it would be fair for her to be released from prison.
I still don't trust her at 69 years old.
All right. General proof.
Me either.
Yes, Judge. This time the state will produce a copy of.
If anything, like, people get more manipulative
That'll be
and
exhibit
stuff in prison.
262. I'm going to keep the exhibits in sequential numbers, but I started a new sheet for the sentencing part. Be exhibit 262.
Yes, Janet. Basically, like everything. I don't think she was found not guilty of anything, right? Everything was all guilty. Yeah. Okay.
Any other proof, Joe?
No, Judge. That's the state address.
All right. Mr. Scott.
Here's what we call Angel Boswell. Angel Boswell.
Basically, the defense is going to do more for sentencing than they did in the actual trial, which was nothing.
The problem is that these witnesses aren't going to be good for her no matter what. I just can't see her. I can't see her mom, which is going to be crazy that she's even testifying at this point, knowing that she blamed her for taking her daughter and potentially killing her.
Well, she was probably forced to. She was probably subpoenaed and doesn't want to go to jail. Is she even? I mean, she might be in jail. Who knows?
Can you be subpoenaed to do a victim impact statement or something for sentencing?
Well, for sentencing to be a
Raise
witness,
your
I
right
mean, you're
hand
still
now.
a witness in a court
Yeah, I
proceeding.
guess. I don't know. It's just weird.
You solemnly swear affirm testimony you're about to give be the truth, the whole truth, and but the truth, man. Have a
I
seat.
wonder if we're gonna have any
If
outbursts.
you'll pull the microphone down and talk straight
I
into
kind
the
of hope so.
microphone.
Oh, well, why does she look like Michael
Actually, you know
Jackson
what?
for a second?
I need to switch these.
I don't know why. Oh, he's giving it away because we know we don't use it or nothing. But I feel
Yeah,
like all
it's
this
weird.
should have been done already.
Right. Law junkie, that's funny. We always say you get what you get and you don't throw a fit. Hey, girl, you get what you get and you don't get upset. I kind of like yours better, but I don't know if habits over 20 years is going to change.
Where the hell is that from? My kid says that. He doesn't listen to it, but he says
Which
it all
one?
the time. You get what you get and you don't throw a fit. I think he learned it at school.
My kids learned it in preschool, so we've done it. We've done it for a very long time because that's what they said. But I kind of like hers. It makes more sense.
Ma'am, state your name for the record.
Angela Boswell.
You are Megan Boswell's mother.
I am.
Ms. Boswell, you know the purpose of being here today.
I do.
I want to ask you some about Megan's home life and growing up, but I guess I want to ask you first a little bit about yourself.
Okay.
And I'm asking you these questions, Ms. Boswell. I'm not trying to embarrass you or cast any aspersions.
No.
You married Tommy Boswell when you were how old?
First time 15.
You speak into that microphone just a little more, please.
The first time 15.
They're letting folks get married at 15 in
And when did
Tennessee.
you become pregnant with your first child with him?
I had my first in April and turned 16 in July.
Okay, and who was that child?
Tommy Jr.
Okay. And then you had Megan at some point. How old were you when you had Megan?
There's 8 years difference. I was almost 24.
It's okay. So let's talk about Megan's life growing up. Would it be fair to say that during her lifetime, she's witnessed drug use between you and her father?
Yes.
What type of drugs?
Opiates, mainly.
Scoot up and speak into that so the jury can hear you.
Opiates, mainly.
Did that drug use lead to other problems?
Yeah. Arguments, fighting, yes.
Okay. You say there
Strife.
Strife.
That's what it brings, yes. Non-stop.
Is that something that went on pretty much her entire childhood
Yeah.
growing up?
Yeah, from the time she was pretty little, yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
Good. Now, did she witness fights between you and her father?
Yes.
Okay. I think at some point her father was convicted of aggravated assault and kidnapping.
Yes.
Were you the victim in that?
Yes. Mm.
Do you remember ever taking Megan to any NAAA meetings with you?
Yes, I did.
How old was she when you did that?
She was probably about 7 or 8. First ones I started taking her to. 7 or 8, 8 or 9, somewhere around in there.
Now due to the strife in your home, was she raised?
I mean, I took my kid to AA meetings when he was probably starting when he was a baby, baby. So one thing with this is that you could say that the information that's being given now means that Megan was at higher risk to become a drug addict or alcoholic, which would be fair. But her going to the meetings like doesn't do anything. In fact, I give her, Angela, credit for taking her rather than missing them.
It's about her grandparents to some degree.
Yes.
Okay. What were their names?
Mary and Danny Boswell.
Okay. Mary Boswell, would that be who's known as a mommy?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
These problems, do you feel that it's partly your fault, the problems Megan's experienced?
No, absolutely. Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Now, unfortunately, your problems, that they went on up into, we saw a video in here of you being brought down from the jail to talk with her in 2020.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So even up until the time she went to jail, you were in and out of jail.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. I've been.
Have you been convicted of numerous crimes?
Yes.
Now, have you managed to straighten up at this point?
I have, yes.
You hoping to?
Yes. I pray every day and just, to do my best and try. I've learned the importance of a mother's role, but not for Megan, I didn't.
All right.
I failed her on that miserably.
And you're here asking this jury to give her a sentence of life as opposed to life without.
It's.
I mean, she'll be dead by the time that happens. By the time Megan's 70, she'll be dead.
Right.
So you don't have to see her when she comes out of prison. You know what I mean? It don't matter to you.
She's going to be 70 years old, so she's going to spend 52 years in prison. And then think that she's gonna just what? Like where's she gonna go? Who's gonna be around? Where's she gonna go when she gets out at 70 years old? What's she gonna do? She'll have no life skills, she'll have no buddy.
Everyone will be dead.
I mean, her younger brother and sister might not be, but I don't like what?
Yeah.
Yes. Maggie is at her core. She is a generous, kind-hearted person. And through all Maggie's went through, Maggie still has potential. She was trying so hard. She didn't repeat my mistakes. Maggie learned from my mistakes. And she was trying to do better with Eve. She wasn't repeating. And I think she got saddled with, and just because of my mistakes that she did those, and that was not it. That was not the case with Evan.
Would it be fair to say she didn't have a good role model for the mother?
No, she did not.
Answer any of Miss Massengill or Mr. Harper's questions.
Can you pause it real quick? She didn't have a good role model for a mother, so ultimately she kills her daughter and puts her in a trash can. That is I don't know.
That's bullshit. But I have to say, as a mother, kind of like how I told you the other night when my mom was here, that when I became a mother, I developed a new type of guilt that was for all the ways that I've even spoken to my mother, let alone the things that she's done. I was telling Teresa the other night, I'm I can think of things even now, I'll say it and I'll say something and then I'll go walk away from it and be like, I'm a cunt. I can't believe I just said that to my mother.
Yeah.
If my
Can't believe I said that
to
to my mom.
So I think, yeah, we all feel guilty as moms. I don't think you could fault her for still loving her daughter. And I think that this is some form of I didn't do anything then. Now maybe I could do something to help now. Do you know what I mean?
Right. It's actually very reminiscent of Billy Joe Howell from Leilani Simon's case.
Yeah. So it might not be true necessarily. What she's saying might not be true in the sense that maybe she was just going to be a killer no matter what kind of thing. But I just think that nothing she says is going to, even if they let her out like at 70, it doesn't affect her at all in 70 years or 50 years or whatever. I think this is just a blame game right here, which I feel bad for because she's clearly upset. Like she's clearly feeling guilty. And
But like Titus said too, it's like, yeah, she actually was a better mother than Megan because she didn't kill any of her children. So
yeah. And one could say if she lived through all the things that she's saying Megan lived through, why didn't she kill her? Or any of her kids? She has several kids. So I don't know. But I feel bad for her.
Any questions, Judge?
Her, not Megan. Dude, she is stone cold, man.
she's not crying with her mom on the stand.
Nope. You'd think you'd feel a little guilty for what you put your mom. Like I said, the new guilt I developed.
Oh, she's
being a mother.
crying.
She's
Her nose is pretty red.
Wipe it away. She had to get that one out.
Mr. Scott, I want to enter the case number 61078 as exhibit 263. And the other 3 pages are 3 counts in the same case. So I'll make that a collective 263.
What is that case number, Your Honor?
62497. Yeah, the first page is 263, case 61078, and case 62497. Those 3 pages, 264.
Your Honor, defense would call Gail Kite. Kite.
KYTE, right?
I believe so, Your Honor. I'll have her spell it. I think she was a witness in the trial, but I'll go back to that.
That's foster mom, right? Hey, this other guy's actually doing something.
Yes.
I just noticed that.
Oh, I just want to say, remember I told you about that rose petal murder earlier? I was telling everybody because that's at trial now. I think they're on day 3.
They are. That's the one I was talking about. That's the trial I was talking about at the end of the live yesterday. And you're like, Teresa just wants to stream all the trials.
Oh, I totally missed that was what you were talking about because you know that I was interested in that.
Yeah, that's the vet tech.
Yeah. But that prosecutor, so far, I've been able to stomach him much easier. He's
Good
probably
morning.
one of the better ones I've seen.
Just so I make sure here.
I've only watched
Your last
clips.
name, is it KYTE?
It is.
And Ms.
It
Kite
is.
previously testified in this hearing as a state's witness. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Well, thank you for coming back.
Love it. Love the mammal accent.
I know Ms. Boswell appreciates that. How long have you been working in foster care?
Wait a second.
15 years.
Do you remember when you've been working in foster care? You previously testified in this hearing as a state's witness. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Well, thank you for coming back for this part of it. I know Ms. Boswell appreciates that.
Oh, Miss Boswell. I thought he said
How long
Ethel.
have you been
I almost lost my mind.
working in foster care?
15 years.
Do you remember when Megan Boswell came to you?
I do.
Do you recall what kind of shape she was in or state?
She was in bad shape. She was one of the worst children that I'd brought in as far as neglect.
What do you mean by that?
She was very malnourished. She's very skinny. Her hair was matted to her head with lice. Impossible to even get a comb through.
Okay. Well, when she
So wait, is she talking about the state of Megan when she arrived at her house at 7 months pregnant?
That's what I'm trying to figure out, because why wouldn't they have asked her that when she was on the stand?
I don't know, but I'm here to tell you that one could consider that abuse to the baby also. If she was malnourished, I mean, maybe not so much the lice, but like if she was malnourished, like I wonder, was she going to her
They asked the one ME about reviewing her OB records.
Yeah, I
But I
wonder,
don't.
did she go to the doctor regularly?
But she was 17. Why would she not? And pregnant. She didn't. She just had lice and was malnourished. This isn't like she's 17. So she's not 7. I mean, I just don't understand that. So her mom could get married at 15, but Megan couldn't take care of her own lice at 17.
I find that strange.
Yeah, I feel like they're trying to act like she's like 7. Like, this is just silly to me. She was 17 years old.
She was 7 months pregnant. Like at some point you have to understand that your responsibilities are not just for you anymore. And I would say that when there's a baby growing in your belly, that's the time. And
I get that she was still a minor. I get that she was, a child, but I'm just thinking at 17, there's no reason that she couldn't be doing some of those things on her own. Like, I get that she didn't have a job, she couldn't afford food or whatever. But why?
At 17, you can work. You can work
right?
at 17.
But also, why in the world would the defense attorney not have asked this lady that while she was on the stand to show the childhood that Megan had?
Maybe to save it for this. I don't know.
What? That's just silly.
Well, if it won't help, you know what I mean? Like when you're in trial versus when you're at sentencing, like, somebody was saying this the other day about Richard Allen. Like, why didn't they put people to say nice things on the stand during the trial? And I was like, what good would it have done to put people up to talk about how great of a dad he was, or what kind of hardships he had, when they're sitting there listening to evidence of 2 dead children. So it probably wouldn't have been helpful, but I still don't think it's helpful because I was younger than 17 when I started working because I wanted shit. My mom wouldn't get me. So I got a job.
Yeah, I was 16 in my first job. So I agree. I just think it's kind of silly.
They want to hear.
Okay, go ahead. Don't want to hear me.
She came to you, were you given any background? I imagine in foster care, you're given background or information of where this child is coming from. Were you giving any of that?
I was.
And what were you preparing for?
In the intake papers, it mentioned trauma.
I'm sure she's eligible for
it
many.
mentioned rape.
Did it give you any background or any information about her family background or makeup?
Not really.
Okay. Now, you said she came to you with lice. What did you do to try to help Megan?
Well, I took her to a beauty shop because there was no way to even begin to get a comb through. It was horrible. The beauty shop wouldn't touch it. They told me I offered to pay him $100 to go out back to cut her hair. And they said that they couldn't do it. Finally, the agency that we were with found a beautician that met me at a church that was willing to come in and give Megan a haircut. They gave her a bob, which looked really cute on her. But even after that we could get a comb through, it took close to 3 weeks, maybe a month, to get rid of the lice. Were just so bad. I had to get prescription medicine from the doctor. We got 2 bottles of that. I bought the comb that you run through that's supposed to kill the lice. And I know I practically traumatized the poor child, because we'd go out on the porch and I'd run that comb through trying to make sure we got all the lice, and she'd sit there and tears would run down her hair. She got tired of me. It wasn't a pleasant situation. And then even when you do that, you still got to go through, you've got to thoroughly clean the bedding. Everything in the room has to be taken down, washed in hot water. But it was a rough time for her, very rough.
And you may have said, but she came to you how old?
She was 17 years old.
She was pregnant.
17, pregnant, scared, didn't have a place to go.
And you believe that she had been raped or violently sexually assaulted. Were you given any background or information about her family, her mom and her dad?
I knew Mom was in and out of jail, and I knew her daddy owned a business.
Okay. Were you able to come to the opinion that she essentially came from a dysfunctional family?
I did.
Okay. And how long did she stay with you?
She stayed 4 months. When she came in, we got to work, got rid of the lice, got her registered for school. Where she was pregnant, she chose to do online schooling. She worked really hard getting her diploma. If a test didn't go right, she was on the phone the next day with the counselor getting it reset. I never had any problems trying to get her to do her schoolwork or anything. She hung with it.
So why didn't she do it before that?
She ever caused you any problems, disciplinary wise or anything like that?
No.
Never?
No.
And did she seem to be thriving in a structured environment?
She did. She did.
Was she making friends?
She did.
Did she seem to be progressing and coming out of the state she was in when she came to you?
She very much so.
And she was with you for 4 months. Did you form a bond with her?
Oh, I did. We took up together immediately. It was during the winter. She learned me how to play card games. Winter days, we'd sit there and we'd play. Baby'd sleep, we'd play cards. But we formed a bond.
Did you take her to doctor's appointments?
I did.
How did she seem to feel about becoming a mother?
She was very excited.
Did you have conversations with her about that?
I did.
Did she seem to fully understand her roles and responsibilities of what was going to be required of her?
She did. Megan practically raised her younger sister, Charlotte, and her brother, Elijah. She had plenty of experience with younger children.
She didn't kill them.
How did you know that?
Well, mostly from conversations with Megan, and I could tell by the way she took care of Evelyn at the house. You know, she knew how to heat bottles. She knew how to change the diapers. She got up when the baby cried.
Did you ever have to tell her to do those things?
No. Me and my husband never once woke up those 4 months when Evelyn woke up in the middle of the night. Megan would take care of her very well.
And I asked you, and I want to clarify that if you ever took her to doctor's appointments, she was with you when she was with you. She came to you pregnant. Did you go to the prenatal appointments?
I did.
And did you go to follow-up appointments with Evelyn's pediatrician?
I did.
Okay. So you were involved through the whole process, really?
Those 4 months, yes.
Okay. At some point in time, was Megan taken from your home and placed back somewhere else?
She done trial visits to go back to Tommy's.
Okay,
There's a process in the foster care system.
understand.
She done weekend visits, or at first it was just visits, and then it led to weekend visits.
How'd she feel about that?
She seemed okay with it.
Eventually, was Megan placed back in the custody and care of her family?
She was. She went back to Tommy's house.
Tommy, you mean her father?
Yes,
Okay. And did you maintain contact with her?
I did.
How often?
We text back and forth over it wasn't a daily time, but I want to say once a month, couple times, sometimes couple times a week. It's just according to what was going on and what pictures she had took of Evelyn.
When you were talking to her, did you eventually learn that maybe things were kind of getting back off the tracks again?
I did. In April, I received a call from her foster care worker.
Can you pause it real
saying
quick?
that Megan had been needed some help and would.
She was 18 right after she went back to Tommy's house. So she went back to Tommy Senior's in February, and her birthday's March 21st. So she was still 17 when she went back, but she turned 18 like a month later. So I just want to kind of put that in perspective.
I would like to know if anybody knows, now I'll press play, if she was ever put in like trauma counseling or counseling of any kind.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Even though she had was out of the foster care system, would I be willing to go and help her out? And I said, no problem. So I called Megan. She told me that her mother had dropped her off at a church. She had drove off and left her and Evelyn there. She had took Evelyn's diaper bag, the baby's supplies. So I told her I'd be right there. I went and picked her up. We went to Walmart, bought baby bottles, formula, diapers, the stuff that a baby would need.
Where did you take her?
We went back to my home. She spent the night. Her and Evelyn they took showers, a good night's sleep. But then the next morning, she wanted to go back to her mother's family's home.
Where's that at?
Now, I'm not sure. The place that I took, her grandfather was in the hospital, and she wanted to go there to meet up with her family. So when she left my home, I drove her to the hospital in Kingsport, and she assured me that she would be perfectly fine, and her and Evelyn got out.
It'd be fair to say that Megan wasn't getting maybe the familial support from her parents that she was needing at that time.
Yes.
Okay. I imagine over this time, Ms. Kite, that did you ever meet Tommy Boswell Sr. or her mother, Angela?
I had never met Angela, but I'd met Tommy several times.
You said you agreed that she probably come from a dysfunctional family. Let me ask you this. She lived with you for 4 months and you stayed in contact with her after she moved out. It's your opinion, you know her, you talked to her. You think Megan ever knew what a normal family looked like?
No. No.
Did she crave that?
I think so.
Was she wanting that for Evelyn?
I think so.
Well, it's obvious why we're here today. You know why you're testifying. Are you asking this jury to just give her life?
I am, with the possibility of parole. This child has been traumatized. she's made bad mistakes that has to be paid for. But I think she deserves a chance to come back out to the real world. I don't think she's irredeemable. I think she can become a functioning citizen.
Ms. Scott, I thank you again. If you would answer any questions that the state has for you.
Nothing from the state judge.
Judge, we call Mary Boswell.
Okay, and this is Grandma. This is Tommy Boswell's mom. So, oh, mommy. No, CH in the one interview on the front porch, that was Christy Broom. That was Maddie Broom's mom, the friend that died at 17.
Raise your right hand and state your name for me.
Mary Boswell.
Ms. Boswell, do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Can I see right there and speak to that microphone?
Okay.
Ms. Boswell,
Mhm.
I'm Gene Scott. How are you?
Pretty good.
We're here today because the jury's trying to decide how long Megan will have to stay in prison. I want you to, I guess, your name is Mary Boswell.
Not Mary Boswell.
Okay. How do you know Megan?
Sir,
How do you know Megan?
she's my granddaughter.
Okay. Are you Tommy Boswell's mother?
Yes, sir.
And obviously you've known Megan her whole life.
All of her life, I started keeping her from the time she was 2 months old till she was grown, off and on, not all the time, but off and on.
Why was that in part because of problems between your son and her mother, Angela?
Sir,
Was that because her parents were having
no,
problems?
she just loved me and her papa, and she stayed with us, and we loved her, and so we keep her a lot.
Were you aware of the violence issues between Tommy and Angela?
No, I didn't live in their home or nothing. I don't know nothing about what went on in their home, sir.
Okay.
We'd pick her up and keep her until she want to go back and like that, off and on.
And have you always lived down there on the same property Tommy lives on? Or?
I've never lived there for maybe 20 years, 21 or 2 or something like that.
She lived there almost all Megan's life.
Yeah, yes, sir. Oh, yes, sir.
And you're aware, you told me, I think one of Megan's role models was your husband, your late husband.
Sir.
Your late husband, he was one of Megan's role models?
Yes, we loved her like she belonged to us.
Okay. And, when did he pass, man?
11 and a half years ago. Soon be 12 this summer.
So that would have been when Megan was, I guess, what?
Yeah, maybe 12 years old or
12
something.
years old?
Mm-hmm.
Did you see that take an impact on her?
Yes, it did.
And are you here asking this jury for leniency today?
Yes, sir, I am.
Asking them not to give her a sentence of life without parole?
I hope they don't, sir. I love her like I hope they don't give her the sentence like that. I'd love to give her
my home if I could take her home today. That's how much I love her.
I understand. Thank you, Ms. Boswell. Is there any Mr. Harper or Ms. Massacre?
No, but people have to have consequences. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, that was actually a grandma that definitely is an enabler. And I'd take her home today if I could. She killed your great granddaughter. Did you forget that part?
Exactly. I wonder if she'll say anything.
No. No. I'd be very surprised if she says a fucking word.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'll have you go with the officer for just a minute. Won't take long.
Everyone stand, please. You may be seated. Thank you. Approach. Megan, we've talked about this before. You understand you have a right not to testify.
Yes.
No one can force you to testify.
Yes.
Oh shit, is she gonna? I hope she does.
No, they just have to give her the spiel. They have to ask her.
Megan, you understand you have a right not to testify, and if you don't testify, the jury may not draw any inferences from that failure to testify. You understand that?
Yes.
Likewise, you have a right to testify. No one could keep you from testifying if you wanted to.
Yes.
After consulting with me, Mr. Horn, and talking about your case and hearing what's happened here in court and all the evidence, do you wish to testify or not?
No.
You do not wish to testify?
I do not wish to testify.
And Ms. Boswell, you're still under oath from yesterday or the day before. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any other proof? And before we bring the jury in, one thing that I forgot to do yesterday was when we excused the alternates, I took the contents of one of their books and the cover page, and I gave that to the court reporter, and that would be designated as Exhibit A, the letter A, for identification only, so that it's part of the record as to what those notebooks were that they took back. All right.
He took the alternate jurors' notebooks and wants them to be an exhibit.
That's strange. Who asked for that?
The judge just did. He said something I forgot to do yesterday was when we released the alternates. I didn't. I took their notebooks, but I need to put it like on the. He didn't say on the record, but he said I need to put it in, and they're going to make it Exhibit A.
Huh. I don't know. I thought the notebooks were just trash after.
Yeah, I thought they'd be destroyed.
They need to put a mic on his body since he has such a difficult time standing at the one that is attached to his desk.
Yeah, that's weird.
You want me to skip?
Yeah, you can go further ahead if you want. They're just doing a little sidebar, but I don't know. That's weird. I didn't. Why would they do? Maybe just that. I think that maybe they just need to be put in the record that they were actually taken from the alternates. So it has to be in the record that they were like they are actually confiscated. You know.
Oh, you may be right. So this is the stream. I have no idea what's happening. I have no idea what they're doing.
What are they doing?
It looks like they rewound. I don't know why they would rewind.
Do they realize they did that? That's weird.
Yeah, and she's back. Well, unless they're bringing her back, surely not.
Did they just show the jury?
Technical difficulties.
Rewind it. I want to see if they just showed the jury. The verdict is she was guilty on all counts. So now they're doing the statements before. Right there. They did. They just showed the jury.
Oh, shit. Oh, and they paused it.
Technical difficulties is we fucked up and we just showed the jury.
Big time.
Oh my God, court TV.
Yeah, they froze it on
nice things. What are you doing?
They pride themselves on like streaming trials for decades and like still can't get it fucking right ever.
No, this is why I, as much as I don't like the standard in court cameras, I prefer them at this point because we get the 3 windows. You get, here's your judge, here's your witness, and here's your courtroom, and that's all they show you. But nothing moves, and so it's so much safer. I cannot believe this is what an idiot.
Like I will say I do like Brian Kohberger's, like when they moved him to where he's at now with the new judge, the very first hearing, I was like, oh my God, I can like finally hear these people loud and clear. I can see things. The only thing is with that is exhibits. Like I want to see exhibits and I don't want to have to zoom into on my phone. I want to just like, they should make those available or something.
Right. Are they going to kick the camera out of the courtroom for the rest of this?
Probably.
Are we caught up to the live now?
We are.
The court TV says they have technical difficulties.
This is why we can't have nice things.
So they caught it. Somebody caught it, and that's why we saw that weird screen where they brought it up, and they had to go back to that clip and show whether they did or didn't catch the jury.
They're probably reviewing it right now, and he's gonna be like, I can't believe you did that. After they went through all that to make sure you couldn't even hear their voices.
Jesus criminy. Yep, this is why we can't have nice things. This is so dumb. Such a dumb thing. And this is not the first time that court TV's made this mistake in court. Like, they need to not be the pool camera. I wouldn't be surprised if they hold that camera person in contempt. I mean, this is what, the 3rd mistake that we've caught. Let me check another stream. Sure. They should all be doing it from one camera, though, so we'll see. I'll look right now. WCYB is not live either. All right, let me see about WBIC.
I checked WB IR, and they say we'll be right back. So
Yeah, they all cut off at the same time as I rewind them. Because it's all from the same camera.
that'd be really shitty if we got to watch all the way through that point and then now we can't just finish because they're assholes.
So dumb. Such a dumb mistake. I'm going that the courts just should have the stationary camera and that's it. Like, we didn't need all that just to be able to watch the old lady walk up to the stand.
We did not need to watch her shuffle her way to the witness stand in a walker.
Now, there's at least 3 jurors that are very clear as day.
Yeah. And I did check WBIR.
That's who I'm looking at right now, WBIR. They're all off because it's only one camera. They're all pulling from one camera.
Because I was watching them, like, I liked theirs better because they weren't, like, blurring things.
Right.
Whatever they felt they should blur, like Court TV was. But Court TV does all the timestamps and stuff, which I appreciate.
And Court TV was the one I could do closed captioning on, so. Yeah, that stream is off. So dumb. What a stupid mistake. There's like no reason to show that at all.
Yeah, I think Court TV is the full camera.
Yeah. Yeah, I see three jurors in very clear form. Yeah, the technical difficulties is on them, but they're not going to be like, so we screwed up, guys, and oh, you saw most of the jurors? I went back and watched. I only saw there's 3 that you can see very clear. I can pull up long crime too. Let's see. Yeah. They're down too.
I have to go switch loads and bring all the Valentine's bags downstairs. So I'll be right back.
Okay, do it. So Law and Crime looks like they caught that the jury was. Here, I'll switch out the screens. Also, I'm going to switch out your stream, Sleuthy. I don't know if you can still hear me. So Law and Crime, they don't even have they won't go. They're not playing it past that point where you can almost see the jurors. They froze it there. It's like frozen there. And then they cut it off. So they went back and froze it. So Court TV, big mistake. We need to find, let me see if I can find it. Is there anybody who's, We need like somebody who's in the courtroom that, let me see if I can find it. Somebody on Twitter maybe. Ansley should be in the courtroom giving us an update on what happened. She doesn't have any updates. Last she has was Angela Boswell taking the stand. Says the jury deliberated for less than 5 hours. Let me go back to Court TV. Thank you for watching with Court TV. I want somebody who's in the courtroom who's like updating their station. Oh, stream is ended. They ended the stream. Court TV officially ended the stream. Damn. Okay, let me see. On Twitter, Kristen Quinn. Okay, hold on. Kristen Kwan. Let's see what she says. I don't see anything on her Twitter. What a dumb move. Let's see if they have another stream up. Oh shit, Journey. All right, hold on. Let's go back to This is Law and Crime. They're still actually streaming. They haven't cut off their stream yet. This is the other trial that Sleuthy and I were just talking about. Zachary Hughes. It's interesting. The camera, they just posted that the cameras got thrown out. Oh my gosh. The judge is going to be so pissed. Next on Court TV, State of Tennessee versus our camera guy. And I've got Twitter up over here too, so I'm checking their stuff. What a fucking... I want to know what happened in that courtroom though. Let me see. Nothing on WCYB. Let me go to WJHL. Where are you guys seeing the cameras got thrown out? Who posted that? Like the chat saying cameraman showed jury no cameras now. Well, that's what we're figuring. What about the other trial you were speaking on? What was it again? Oh, hey, Michelle After Dark. It's called the Rose Petal Murder. It's out of South Carolina. It's a guy who was friends with this Christine Parcells' ex, and Christine was in a custody battle with her ex, and so he was harassing her, and then told his friend to harass her, Zachary Hughes, to basically make her life a living hell. And so they were, and then she died. She was stabbed to death. And they arrested Zachary Hughes for doing it. And then when they arrested him, after questioning her boyfriend, it's a weird case. After they questioned her boyfriend, they ended up finding CSAM on his phone. And then the mother of one of the CSAM people or children that were found on the phone said that him and Christine were doing things to harass her child. It's really kind of crazy. But if you go to like looking at like the evidence, they have video. They have a video from a neighboring home that shows somebody walking up. And it looks like, like Bridge Guy. It's so far away. Go to Law and Crime and go to the highlighted messages from them. Okay. Wait. Nope, this is Zachary Hughes. I'm like, wait a minute, that is not our courtroom. Nope, video is unavailable. If you're going to do trials now, we need a blind one. Law and Crime took down their stream. Let's see. So this is local. I'm going to the locals. Let's do. Is it WBIC? No, WB. I don't know why I want to call it C. It's R. Okay, so they're still. Nope. They're just still sitting there. No chat. They finally ended theirs. I don't see anybody. Yeah, they all pull from one camera. I just want somebody talking about it. Hi, everybody that just popped in. Yes, Megan Boswell was found guilty on all counts. They were going through defense character witnesses. Snappy, where'd you see that at? They ended theirs too. I won't be surprised if they actually delete it. Court TV deleted the stream. Oh, and a Boswell discussion group? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. Court TV deleted their stream. Wonder if we're all going to get like notices like, hey, you're going to have to delete that too, because you guys now all just showed the jury.
Maybe. Or they'll copyright it.
All right, let me go and pull up Facebook and see. I'm not seeing anybody that's actually discussing it outside of what we know. Long Crime had a pinned post that says cameras have been pulled from the courtroom per judge's orders. That's what Long Crime states. The cameras have been pulled from the courtroom per the judge's orders. We will not get to hear anything else. Son of a biscuit-eating bulldog. Hold on. There's other people that I'm hearing say that the cameraman was told to get an attorney, but it's all just essentially hearsay on social media at this point. I'm hoping that we can get a reporter that was in the courtroom to hear what they actually say, you know? Since Law and Crime actually took their stream down. Come on. There you go. Let me pull up Facebook and see if there's any. There's definitely nothing like super updated in like news documents. And I'm not finding much on Twitter at this point, except for people just saying that she was found guilty. All right, let me see if you guys have found anything. Someone said they put up fixed cameras. I actually feel bad for the camera person. One mistake and probably loses their job. It's a big mistake. That's a big mistake. But he actually had done, well, we know that he was reprimanded by the judge for looking at or zooming in on the laptop of the defense attorney. which I don't think it was actually, I mean, I didn't really see it zoomed in on that, but somebody else said they did. So I never went back and actually verified, but I know he was zooming in on Megan and you could see the dude's like iPad laptop thing. And then we know that he actually had zoomed in on the crime scene photos and he left them up there. And then he's like zoomed in on the prosecutor's laptop to show him. I don't think anybody caught that or he didn't get warned.
They're saying WCYB. There you go.
Thank you, Joanna. All right.
If they had these all along, why didn't they just do these?
No. Let me just see. Okay, so this is.
Are we live?
So pissed. Can you listen how good his mic is? Hey, Evan. Did you hear how clear the judge's mic was?
I can't hear shit.
Oh, hold on. He asked the defense and the state if they're ready to proceed.
I didn't hear that.
You can't hear this?
No.
Oh, shit. Okay, hold on.
I can hear something. It's low.
Yeah, hold on.
Spring jury. Stay ready.
Oh, shit. Oh, shit.
I know. You can actually hear the judge. Hold on.
Wow.
Now we're back. You just stay ready to
Oh,
proceed.
my God. I didn't even know he sounded like that.
Ready to proceed.
Yes, sir.
It's weird. We actually know what the judge sounds like. It sounds so good.
Spring jury in.
That's not
When your bum ass camera that's been sitting there for God knows how many years is better than what Court TV streams.
He is so pissed. No, he's so mad.
Maybe seated. Thank you.
Okay, I was like, wait a minute.
All
Don't
right.
do that.
Mr. Scott, do you have any other proof?
Defendant rest.
All right. General, closing.
Yes, you They always say if you want to do something right, you do it yourself.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'll be pretty brief. This is obviously the second part of our trial, and the state only has to prove one additional element, the aggravating factor. And in your instructions, you will hear that the factor is if the murder was committed against a person less than 12 years of age and the defendant was 18 years of age or older. We submitted a copy of.
Hold on, you guys are saying we saw the jury again? Sorry, I got up and grabbed a water. The jury's back here. Where did we see the jury?
The bailiff.
This is the bailiff. These people are in the gallery. I don't know if that's what you're talking about. I missed it. These are stationary cameras. They shouldn't really be moving. Did they back up and show? This is not the jury, FYI. The jury's back here. You saw two of them? We saw two of them walk in. Hold on.
Oh my God, just carry on.
I'm sorry, I'm going to rewind it.
I just couldn't get over the sound.
I know, it's so.
Oh,
yeah,
shit. There he is.
You gotta be fucking kidding me. What is wrong with these people?
Damn it.
And these aren't even the same jurors that were shown on court TV. What the fudge? Yeah. There's one. There's two. There's three. Three more jurors. Those are three different jurors.
What the hell is wrong with y'all? This cannot be that hard.
Maybe seated. Thank you.
Now, is the judge going to get mad at himself?
Scott, do you have any other proof?
Defendant rest.
All right.
All right, let me go back to where we were. They did. They totally just showed it. You guys are
One
completely
additional actions, person less than 12 is, and in your instructions, you will hear that the factor is if the murder was committed against a person less than 12 years of age and the defendant was 18 years of age or older, we submitted a copy of Evelyn's birth certificate, which will show that she was under the age of 12 at the time that this murder was committed. And it also gives Megan Boswell's birth date, which also proves that Megan was over the age of 18 at the time this was committed. You get to consider not just what was in this hearing today, but anything that you heard in the trial itself. You heard from a few witnesses today talk about Megan's childhood. You're going to get jury instructions on mitigating factors that the defense would like for you to consider. Things like how old Megan Boswell was at the time, Megan Boswell's childhood, the things that she witnessed, role models in her life, etc. But I submit to you that there are a lot of people who have hard childhoods. There are a lot of people who have babies when they're young, and those people do not kill their children. Those people do not wrap their children in blankets, in foil, and put them in a trash can upside down.
She's better than me. I'd be saying throwing them head first into a trash can. That's what I'd say.
Is he telling on the cameras? Is he telling on the cameras?
That or he has a problem with what she just said, but it's probably the cameras. Are you watching us? Are they watching us?
Hi, Charmaine. Yep, guilty on all counts.
He just looked at the camera.
A shit show.
He's looking at it.
He is, right? He looks like he's watching it.
Damn it.
What's the big deal with seeing the jury?
I do agree. You'd see them if you were there in person. It is open to the public, but still.
It's simply that the cameraman was ordered not to show them, I would believe. So it's, now it becomes a court order to not do it. And then if you just go against what the court says.
When you look at these mitigating factors, and it looks like they have submitted 11 mitigating factors. I submit to you that lots of people have childhoods like the defendant had, but you heard from her own grandmother that her grandmother and grandfather were stability for her. And I submit to you that just because you have the childhood that you have, and of course we all, you included, have different life experiences, that does not make an excuse for what she did to Evelyn. The defense is telling you that Megan Boswell deserves life with the possibility of parole, which is essentially roughly 51 years in this state, which would mean that Megan Boswell could get out in her late 60s, I believe. I submit to you that Megan Boswell she doesn't deserve that chance. Does Evelyn get the chance when she's 69 years old to start her life again? She doesn't. Neither does Megan. We are going to ask that you continue to hold her accountable. The state has proven the aggravating factor that Evelyn was under the age of 12 years old and that the defendant was over the age of 18. We have proven that. And that is all the state has to prove. And if you believe that the state has proven that beyond a reasonable doubt, we're going to ask that you return a verdict of life without the possibility of parole.
Thank you, John. Mr. Horn.
Ladies and gentlemen, I know the last few days have been emotional for you. It's been emotional for everyone. That emotion really began 5 years ago. Not just for this case, but for our community. And it has had some dividing and rippling effects. You've been sequestered, you haven't seen those things, but we have. We've seen how divided this community is over this case. Perhaps that could last and go on for a long time. You spoke very loud today when you found Megan Boswell guilty. I think it's time that we end all of this on the right note. You have a chance to do that. I don't, state doesn't, judge doesn't, you do. You can put the defining moment, the period of what people will remember about this case, and perhaps you as jurors, because you did find her guilty. And now you have a chance to do and show the one thing that's been missing for the last 5 years. That's grace and love. We have all, everybody in this room has failed in some way in their life. It may not have resulted in a criminal charge. It may not have resulted in going to prison. But we've done something. We've wanted compassion. We wanted grace. We wanted love. That's how you can end this. And that's how we can start to move on as a community. And you can show her what love looks like. Because you've heard how fractured and dysfunctional her family is. Mr. Scott told you in the trial, he didn't go through a lot of things in her life. I didn't either. But I knew my mom and dad loved me. They loved me to the end. My family now loves me to the end. I don't think she's seen what that looks like in her life. You're going to get a chance. Go back there and show her. You can tell her that she's redeemable. You can end it with grace and love. General Boswell told you about those mitigating factors. You'll get them in your jury instructions. Spare her life and give her life without parole. If there's anything good can come from this, it's that we can all move forward, knowing that you got the verdict that you wanted, and you ended it with the emotion of love and compassion. That's what will be remembered. I hope that's what you did. Don't be remembered for just compounding the tragedy and the tragedy and the tragedy. So it's almost the lasting impression that you give Evelyn, that you give Megan, that you give this community, that love and grace can still be found with all of this. We ask you to give her life. Let her have a chance.
What the fuck is happening?
What the hell just happened?
He snitched and it must have been on a delay.
Hold on.
He probably cut the wire. Is he visible at the table or did he crawl under them to go cut the wires?
Why isn't it even letting me play?
Because it's unavailable now. It's totally unavailable.
They fucking took it down.
Refresh and see if it does anything. Something went wrong. Try to refresh. Is it your internet? Oh, maybe it private. Wow.
No, it's not my internet.
Why? Try to find it somewhere else. They were on a Zoom call. I wonder if we can find the Zoom info. Rude. This should not be this hard. Like,
This is so ridiculous. They took it down. Okay. What in the world? Okay, hold on.
To imprisonment for life without possibility. We, the jury, that a statutory aggregate as to any points at either 5, that in arriving at the punishment, the jury.
She wasn't shown any grace.
Redeemable. You can end it with grace and love.
All right, well, here we
Judge
go.
Boswell told you about those mitigating factors. You'll get them in your jury instructions. Spare her life and give her life without parole. If there's anything good can come from this, is that we can all move forward, knowing that you got the verdict that you wanted, and you ended it with the emotion of love and compassion. That's what will be remembered. I hope that's what you did. Don't be remembered for just compounding the tragedy and the tragedy and the tragedy. So easy to do that. The lasting impression that you give Evelyn, that you give Megan, that you give this community, is that love and grace can still be found with all of this. And we ask you to give her life. And let her have a chance to come out one day. That's justice and flip. Justice for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Gentlemen.
Thank you, Judge. Ladies and gentlemen, your job at this point is to determine whether or not the state has proven the aggravating aggravating factor that we alleged. And as General Massengill told you, that was simply related to the age of the child as well as the age of Ms. Boswell. And clearly through her birth certificate, we have proven that aggravating factor. So then your job will be to weigh the mitigating factors that the defense has put on for you against that aggravating factor, which we have met our burden of proving. Mr. Horns asked you to end this case on the right note, and they would agree. You should end this case on the right note, and you should show Megan Boswell the same compassion and grace that she showed Evelyn.
I knew that was coming.
Evelyn wasn't shown any compassion.
Put her in a trash can upside down.
She wasn't shown any grace.
Threw head first into a trash can.
But Evelyn should have been able to rely on to protect her, keep her safe, abandon her, discarded her. She doesn't deserve your passion, your grace. State asks that you weigh the aggravating factor that we've proven in this case. The fact that Evelyn Boswell, at the time she was dumped in a trash can, wasn't even 13 months old, never had a chance. We ask that you return a verdict we've requested of life without parole.
Thank you, General. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I've got another set of instructions I've got to read to you. In the criminal court for Sullivan County, Tennessee at Boswell, State of Tennessee versus Megan Boswell, defendant. Case S72869. Jury instructions. fixing punishment of life imprisonment or life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. Members of the jury, you have now found the defendant guilty beyond a reasonable doubt of first-degree murder in the perpetration of first-degree murder as charged in the first count, and first-degree murder in the perpetration of a felony as charged in the second and third counts of presentment number S72869.
It's something. Oh, he's moving. Okay. I thought something happened. So I could hear
Yeah,
it.
no, he's like fixing something on the form. But we're behind, so I was thinking I should probably maybe start skipping a little bit ahead, but
It is now your duty to determine, within the limits prescribed by law, the penalty which shall be imposed as punishment for these offenses. Tennessee law provides that a person convicted of first-degree murder and first-degree murder in the perpetration of a felony shall be punished by imprisonment for life without possibility of parole or by imprisonment for life. A defendant who receives a sentence of imprisonment for life shall not be eligible for release until the defendant has served at least 51 full calendar years of such sentence. A defendant who receives a sentence of imprisonment for life without parole shall never be eligible for release. In arriving at this determination, you are authorized to weigh and consider any of the statutory aggravating circumstances proved beyond a reasonable doubt, and any mitigating circumstances which may have been risen by the evidence throughout the entire course of this trial, including the guilt finding phase or sentencing phase or both. The jury is the sole judge of the facts and of the law as it applies to the facts in this case. In arriving at your verdict, you are to consider the law in connection with the facts, but the court is the proper source from which you are to get the law. In other words, you are the judges of the law as well as the facts under the direction of the court. The burden of proof is upon the state to prove any statutory aggravating circumstance or circumstances beyond a reasonable doubt. Reasonable doubt is that doubt created by an investigation of all the proof in the case and an inability after such investigation to let the mind rest easily as to the certainty of your verdict. Absolute certainty is not demanded by law, but moral certainty is required, and this certainty is required as to every element of proof necessary to constitute the verdict. The law makes you, the jury, the sole and exclusive judges of the credibility of the witnesses and the weight to be given to the evidence. The defendant has not taken the stand to testify as a witness during the sentencing hearing, but you shall place no significance on this fact. The burden is on the state to prove any aggravating circumstance or circumstances beyond a reasonable doubt. She is not required to take the stand in her own behalf, and her election not to do so cannot be considered for any purpose against her, nor can any inference be drawn from such fact. Statutory aggravating circumstances. Tennessee law provides that no sentence of imprisonment for life without possibility of parole shall be imposed by a jury, but upon a unanimous finding that the state has proven beyond a reasonable doubt the existence of one or more of the statutory aggravating circumstances, which shall be limited to the following. 1. The murder was committed against a person less than 12 years of age, and the defendant was 18 years of age or older. TCA 39-13-204I1. Members of the jury, the court has read to you the aggravating circumstance which the law requires you to consider if you find proved beyond a reasonable doubt. You shall not consider any other facts or circumstances as an aggravating circumstance in deciding whether imprisonment for life without possibility of parole would be the appropriate punishment in this case. Mitigating circumstances. Tennessee law provides that in arriving at the punishment, the jury shall consider, as previously indicated, any mitigating circumstances raised by the evidence, which shall include, but are not limited to, the following. 1. The defendant has no significant history of prior criminal activity. 2. The youth or advanced age of the defendant at the time of the crime. 3. The defendant experienced an unstable and chaotic home life as a small child and teenager. 4. The defendant witnessed domestic violence and physical altercation between her parents in the home. 5. The defendant witnessed her parents participate in drug use and abuse as a child and teenager. 6. The defendant experienced numerous school transfers during her academic career. 7, the defendant's primary positive role model and protector died when she was 12 years of age or 12 years old. 8, the defendant had only limited access to positive family influences throughout her life. 10, the defendant participated as a caregiver to her handicapped brother and younger sister. 11, any other mitigating factor which is raised by the evidence produced by either the prosecution or defense at either the guilt or sentencing hearing. That is, you shall consider any aspect of the defendant's character or record or any aspect of the circumstances of the offense favorable to the defendant which is supported by the evidence. The defendant does not have the burden of proving a mitigating circumstance. There is no requirement of jury unanimity as to any particular mitigating circumstance or that you agree on the same mitigating circumstance. Verdict: life imprisonment or life imprisonment without possibility of parole. If you do not unanimously determine that a statutory aggravating circumstance has been proved by the state beyond a reasonable doubt, the sentence shall be life imprisonment. You will write your verdict upon the enclosed form attached hereto and made part of this charge. The verdict shall be as follows. We, the jury, unanimously find that the punishment shall be life imprisonment. If you unanimously determine that a statutory aggravating circumstance has been proved by the state beyond a reasonable doubt, you shall, in your considered discretion, sentence the defendant either to imprisonment for life without possibility of parole or to imprisonment for life. In choosing between the sentences of imprisonment for life without possibility of parole and imprisonment for life, you shall weigh and consider the statutory aggravating circumstances or circumstance proved by the state beyond a reasonable doubt and any mitigating circumstance or circumstances. In your verdict, you shall reduce to writing the statutory aggravating circumstance so found, and you shall return your verdict upon the enclosed form attached hereto and made part of this charge. The verdict should be as follows. We, the jury, unanimously find that the state has proven the following listed statutory aggravating circumstance or circumstances beyond a reasonable doubt. Here lists the statutory aggravating circumstance or circumstances found. You shall then indicate on the enclosed verdict form either we, the jury, unanimously agree that the defendant shall be sentenced to imprisonment for life without possibility of parole, or we, the jury, unanimously agree that the defendant shall be sentenced to imprisonment for life. The verdict must be unanimous and signed by each juror. I've got verdict forms for you. Okay. I have verdict forms for you, and I will read those. Verdict form count 1. Punishment of imprisonment for life. We, the jury, unanimously determine that no statutory aggravating circumstance has been proven by the state beyond a reasonable doubt. We, the jury, therefore find that the sentence shall be imprisonment for life. Signature line, jury foreperson, signature line for each juror to sign. A date with a line. Verdict form count 1 continued. Punishment of imprisonment for life without the possibility of parole or imprisonment for life. We, the jury, unanimously find the state has proven the following statutory aggravating circumstance or circumstances beyond a reasonable doubt. Check the box of any statutory aggravating circumstance or circumstances you find beyond a reasonable doubt. Check box. The murder was committed against a person less than 12 years of age, and the defendant was 18 years of age or older. Below, check one box only. Check box. We, the jury, unanimously agree that the defendant shall be sentenced to imprisonment for life without possibility of parole, or check box. We, the jury, unanimously agree that the defendant shall be sentenced to imprisonment for life. Signature line, jury foreperson, signature line for each juror. Date, signature, blank. And the same exact form verbatim for counts 2 and count 3. Take the case, consider all the evidence fairly and impartially. Complete one of the 2 forms for each count. And report your verdict to the court. All right.
Go with the officers. Everyone stand, please.
Yeah, they're going to absolutely cover the jury.
Thank you. All right, jury's out at 12:09 p.m. to consider sentencing. This court will be in recess, waiting the verdict of the jury. Court stands in recess.
They're not going to feed him lunch? Okay. And, well, now we wait. I'm tired of the excuses. I've never hurt my baby. Yeah, the problem with the whole rape allegation is Gail's the only one who said anything about that, and she said it during the sentencing phase. I just don't. I'm not saying it's not true, and I don't want to not believe a victim, but I also don't believe anything Megan says. Maybe they'll skip lunch. Maybe they'll just be like, okay, we're done. We figured it out. Let's go. I mean, they did get a verdict on all 19 counts in 4.5 hours. So Gail said it came on the paperwork, but that the intake paperwork from Megan's statement, because she also said she didn't really have a history. She wasn't really given a history on her, but just that. I don't know. I don't think this will probably take very long, especially since they're not going to feed them lunch. We can do a poll. Yeah, give me a second. I'll pull it up. I got to pull up the stream first. Hold on. I honestly, I don't care which one they give her. I don't care if they give her a possibility of parole. I just don't care. I mean, she's still going to be there until she's in her 60s. I know, like, people are like, well, but I also, it's kind of like the whole eye for an eye thing. Do we? Because she didn't give Evelyn the chance, I don't know. I don't think it's
fair to ask people to impose, like, if we're saying that that's bad, right? It's bad to to take someone's life or whatever. I think it's kind of, part of me thinks it's a little unreasonable to ask people to do the same, like to punish. Like, I don't even think that they should be revoked. I think there should be like a mathematical, this is what it is. This is this many years, this is that many years, and leave it at that. Like, I just feel like expecting people to punish people, like, we're not supposed to want to do that. You know what I mean?
I know. But then part of us does, because I mean, that's kind of our nature too. It is an eye for an eye.
They could say that, but then it's also bad to go kill someone that killed your child or kill someone that raped you. You know what I mean? So it's where does it end? You can only do it when you're in a court.
Yeah, then you're allowed to, I guess.
Yeah, it's strange.
Because I'm also not, but I'm not anti-death penalty. So I'm also kind of at that point. Like, I just wanted her to be found guilty and locked away forever.
For sure. I'm also not opposed to the death penalty, but I do think that it should only be used for people that are like of an extreme danger to continue housing for the rest of their life. You know what I mean? To the prison and the prisoners.
Yeah, let her out when she's 70 and see where she goes. Yeah, and then, like, the people that are testifying, like, I think she's redeemable, so she can come out when she's 70 and be like a good product of society. You know what I mean? Like, what?
She should at that point spend more of her life not in society. How could you possibly think that she would be able to then function and have been rehabilitated when most of her life? I mean, I don't even know, at 18 to.
You cut out. I didn't hear you. At
No,
18.
her brain's all the way formed.
Yeah, I mean that's another big thing. Well, I don't know.
Fuck, am I echoing? Is
No,
there?
you cut out a little bit though.
Okay.
She did not have a meltdown. She did cry. Marissa, that's kind of where I'm at. Like, give her life with the possibility of parole, and let the parole board decide in, 50 years. I mean, I think she's going to try to appeal it anyway, but.
Bitch, I've been sitting here talking on mute. Damn it. Now I have something to say about God damn it. The life without parole, or the parole thing, and then whatever. So the only problem with that is that the victim's family, who would essentially be the ones to show up to the parole hearings and say, don't give her parole, are the same folks that are here right now saying, please don't give her life without parole. Let her have parole. And,
these guys won't be alive when she's
That's true. They'll be dead. So who's going to go, how will the parole board take it if there is no victims there?
Just her behavior behind bars. Like, that's really all that's going to be left. I mean, her dad didn't come in and say anything kind for her.
That's true. Which is interesting because she didn't blame him.
No, and she blamed her mom for stealing her, and then had the car that she was driving reported stolen. She was ultimately arrested because she'd already had warrants out for her arrest anyway, and then had her arrested for stealing the car.
Yeah, I think she felt compelled, like, out of pure guilt. I don't think it really had much to do with.
Right. I was a shit mom, so the least I can do is this for her.
Yeah.
Because like us, it's like it doesn't matter because she's going to be 70. So yeah, I'm asking you not to do it. And she can't go to Gale. She can't go to none of these. There's not going to be anybody left for her by the time she would even get parole.
Except her siblings, but like you said, we don't even know how she treated them.
Right. Megan's dad owns a company, a paving company, and some properties, along with his son Tommy Jr.
There's good money in that shit. I told you, my mom's husband's a mason.
Yeah.
And he owns like several properties, to the point where, like, the man has, and when I say this, I mean he does, not me, but he has a lot of money, like, to where he has rental properties he like forgets about. Like, my mom just found one the other day. He was like, what do you do? Like, do you want to rent this? And he was like, yeah. Well, of course, now he has all the health problems too and shit. So he was like, she was like, how much are you charging all of your tenants at your other houses? And he's like, I don't really know. I think it yep. Like, hasn't raised the rent for any of them in the last decade. Like, just doesn't, Are you gonna stream the rose petal one?
I don't know. I was kind of contemplating it just because I really kind of planned on streaming
this for the month.
I was going to do it for at least 3 weeks. So I thought we were doing it well into next week. I don't know. I haven't really decided if I should stream it or not. We can go back to the beginning and start streaming it.
The first day is like not very much.
I didn't do a background on it. I mean, I know the background, but maybe it'd be better if nobody knows anything about it and they just listen to what happens in the trial and see if you find him guilty or not.
Well, someone mentioned that.
Someone said that. I'm not convinced one way or the other. I don't have a predetermined notion. I know about the case. I know his involvement in the nasty text messages. So I mean, I understand the probable cause of his arrest, but I didn't follow court documents. I didn't follow like pretrial hearings. I don't have like a predetermined, like, I think this guy's a piece of shit and he's guilty. I don't know that. I have no idea.
Well, they requested, by they, I mean, like, there were several people that said, and I thought it was a good idea, that we should do Joanna just called it a blind watch. Apparently that means, like, none of us know. We only know what we're watching, and then we try to figure it out from there. I think we should. What I know of it is it's like super twisted, like, in the sense that there's other crimes that were like uncovered, kind of like Delphi.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So I know that part of it. Like, I know the just the general story of it, but I don't know. I don't know anything about the history for pretrial hearings or anything like that.
We should. And then, because then that should bring us out to Karen Reed.
It could bring us out to. I don't know. That one should only be like a week and a half, and we have a ton of history on Karen Reed. We don't really need to do. I mean, we could do one, but I guess
This trial, I don't know, probably won't last that long. I don't even know how long it's expected to last.
No idea. So, I mean, we could just, it's only been, this is day 3 is on today.
Yeah. And the first day is like when I was looking at it, it was like most of the way through the stream before they, like the first day is only half.
Yeah, we could do it. Indiana girl said, I thought they pushed Reed out again. The last I knew it was still April 1st. Has that changed? I don't. Sleuthie, has it changed from? Has Karen Reed changed from April 1st?
No, I didn't see. I didn't see that.
Yeah, not that I've seen. Let me see. It is a murder case, so it's a stabbing victim. I think it would be good without background and make our own decision. We could. I mean, I have no problem doing it. I want to watch the trial anyway. I like trials.
Yeah, let's do it, dude. She was stabbed like over 30 times. This guy is like not really in anything to her. He was like an expert, not an expert. He was like a concert pianist.
Yeah, very like popular in that area.
Like fly to different countries to like play the piano and stuff. So,
but there's like something about that he'd been in an accident and his legs were broken.
And I don't remember that, but I will tell you that the audio is great. I think the prosecutor, it sounded like he had a mic on, which is wonderful.
Hey, kitty.
But then there's like an ex-husband she was in a custody battle with, and an ex-boyfriend or a current boyfriend or fiance, whatever he was.
They found the CSAM on his phone.
Yeah, like some included the daughter and the daughter's friends. That's generally all that I know, really. And she was being
like I said, the biggest thing I know is the text message exchange between the ex and him telling him to make her life a living hell and like harass the shit out of her. And I know she was a vet tech, and I know that one of the CSAM victims' parents came forward and said that both Christina and the boyfriend were involved in like trying to hurt this kid. I don't know if that's ever been proven. I just know that was a statement that was made. Like literally, that's the extent that I know about it.
Can we do it, please? Can we do it now? It's only 12:30.
We can do it. I figured they'd be done pretty soon, so I was
prepared for. Like I blocked my time out for this one.
Right.
I didn't expect it to be 6 days, 7 days.
All right. Well, let me.
You want to make a new thing?
I'd have to make a new thing so that it's under a different. All right. I have the pre-trial hearing. If anybody wanted to hear that, I was going to drop you guys the links to it or we could watch that if you wanted to with the forensic pathologist.
What?
For her case. I started to, Carla. Yes, I did start going over it.
I mean, do you guys want to go? Like, it seems people want to go into it limited.
Okay.
I think that's a good idea. I do wonder how we all would perceive something that none of us know anything about. Because like we aren't all following each other over this case. You know what I mean?
Right.
There was a verdict. Wait, a verdict for who?
There can't already be a verdict in the other case. We're only on day 3.
Wouldn't that be fucked up? We're like, let's start another trial. Oh, wait, it's over before we even got to pull it up.
That would be our luck, though. It really would.
Yeah. So blind. We listens to everything and vow to not research until it's over.
All right, I'll make some stuff on it then.
So there was guilty verdicts for everything for Megan. We're just now waiting. The jury's now trying to figure out what the sentence will be.
Oh, for Delana. Yeah, Delana, yeah, guilty on everything. It was a shit show trying to get to stream. The cameraman showed the jury. He got kicked out. They went to the court cameras. Then the court cameras showed the jury. So then that stream got taken down. It was a cluster. It was just a cluster. Hold on, I'll make a thumbnail for the other trial. I do have you guys want this is the players if you want to just know who they are. It is South Carolina, so they're always interesting too, the Carolinas, when it comes to court cases.
The guy at the bottom of this picture, Zachary Hughes, that's the one that's on trial. And the woman to the left, that's the victim. And the guy at the top was her boyfriend or fiance or whatever. And the guy in the middle is her baby daddy.
It should be the sentencing phase of this really shouldn't take that long for Megan Boswell. They just really have to sign off on what they think. I guess if they don't agree, that could become problematic.
Does it have to be unanimous?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
But I mean, for a sequestered jury, you just wouldn't think that wouldn't be like your big fight. You know what I mean? You wouldn't be putting all your weight into that part. Not in my opinion, anyway.
I wouldn't think that it would be as much as it took for you to determine if she was guilty or not, which wasn't long. Where are you guys getting this info?
I'm not looking, so I have no idea. I was making a.
Is that so the cameraman got 10 days in jail?
I read that he was told to get an attorney. So that he could get up to 10 days in jail. I mean, so what do they do about the court camera showing the jurors then? I mean, that's got to be in favor of the court TV cameraman. Hey, Spike Dog. Bradley Post called in the crime upon arriving at Christina's home. He then was charged with CSAM, and that has not been tried. He has not yet been tried for that. Well, at first they thought he did it. Baby daddy or baby granddaddy? She liked him a little older. Let me just double check. I think the stream hit still. Let me see if we're live. Just want to make sure that stream is still going in the background, so that we'll hear it if it comes up. So this is Christina Parcell. She's the victim. She was the vet tech, and she was stabbed. He did end up getting 10 days in jail, huh? No, I don't like those pictures. I'm still here. I'm just working on setting up a different stream for. So it is quiet. Hey, Punksy. The jury deliberated for a little less than 5 hours. Carla, yeah, I think we're gonna stream this trial. It started a couple days ago, so we'll be behind, but we were already planning on doing this one up until the end of next week at least.
I'm cracking up at all the I got to get a notebook started things.
You probably do. New notebook. If you do want some background on it, Fitz News, because it's in the Carolinas, is a good place to go. If you do want background, if you don't, then obviously don't go anywhere. Let me see. There's the one.
No, we're not going to start on day 3. We'll start.
We'll go back to day
at the
1.
very beginning, just with no info.
Right.
Like jurors.
Like jurors. I just wasn't prepared to do it, so I didn't set up anything for it. So I'm just working on getting a thumbnail and stuff. While we wait for sentencing on that one, I can get this one going. This happened back in 2021, in October of 2021.
You guys are so cute.
What'd they say? I can't see.
Just more notebooks.
Oh. I like watching trials though, so a lot of times I just end up watching the trials just by myself when I'm out doing stuff. So I mean, this is way fun. This is way more fun. Isn't really the right word, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, and it makes your brain think instead of just like I intended to have something in the background playing anyway. But I researched Karen Reed over the weekend. Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's a lot though.
Yeah, Karen reads a lot, and that and not to mention, is it just a lot just from what we have in the public? There's a lot of rabbit holes with Karen Reed. So if you go too far in, you could end up getting stuck. You really can. It's one of those cases.
Like if I was just coming in, I would probably just watch the first trial.
Or watch all of our coverage on the first trial.
Yeah, Indiana girl said time efficient this way rather than watching during the day and updates in long streams at night or later. And I agree.
Yeah, it's actually worked out much better.
I watched a little bit, but it was so twisty after the red solo cups I quit. Yeah, it got worse.
It did. It's so bad. So, and as of right now, was that yesterday or the day before? I don't know. My days are kind of running together. The state has petitioned to make it so the ARCA guys cannot testify in this trial.
Yeah, they're trying.
So if you don't, that's the guy. That's the team from the DOJ, right? That was hired by the DOJ to do a reconstruction of whether she could have actually hit John O'Keefe or not.
Yeah. Well, he's trying to have them excluded because he's saying that basically they didn't like turn over reciprocal discovery on them, on those people, on the ARCA people.
But that doesn't even make sense. They gave everything to both sides.
I know, but the argument was like, when they testified at trial, the defense hadn't even spoken to these people. They didn't know what their findings were. So basically, I don't know. Me personally, I think since it was allowed, then, and Lally just let it go, then there's no reason we should not be seeing it in this trial if he was willing to. But I do wonder if it has something to do with the fact that they're like not under contract with the DOJ now. But the fact of the matter is that if they're not under contract anymore, I would wonder if they could then provide more information. Yeah, they didn't. The defense did say that they didn't talk to them, just had a report. Yeah. And what I'm not understanding is that Lally had it also. Like everything that was provided to the defense about those men were also provided to the Commonwealth.
Right. They just chose not to use the information. And that was part of the defense's point was, why aren't they telling you this? Why are we telling you this?
Yeah, Hank is a little confusing with what he's asking for because on them that the Commonwealth doesn't.
Hi, ATS. Travis says it shouldn't matter whether they're under contract.
So then I don't really know. Other than in that first trial, so
I think you cut out.
I'm saying that I can't think of another, like, I don't understand his arguments that for like not wanting them in there, other than the fact that they were probably the most credible.
That's what got me. I was like, once they came in, I was like, there's no way. I was already like on the fence and was like, I don't know which way, because nobody was really giving us like solid answers, especially from the state side. And so once they came in, I was like, these guys have no reason to come in and say anything one way or the other because they don't work for anybody. I mean, they don't work for either side of this case.
Yeah, after them, I basically was like, I don't even know what we're arguing anymore because they literally said John wasn't hit by a car. And the damage that was on Karen's car did not match being the cause of his wounds. And I'm sorry, but all the other shit, like the stuff that they keep bringing up everywhere about like, well, he didn't have the information about the DNA and the no dog slobber and stuff. And it's like, I don't understand what you think that has anything to do with anything that we're talking about. Why would they need to know that?
They wouldn't.
In fact, I would want them to have less information, especially when you're bringing a question to them such as, this is the end result. This is what we think did it. Can you show us how this thing we think did it caused that end result? And they couldn't do it.
So what's the new part about that they went and actually did like a reconstruction? And I don't know, I've just kind of read this, so I have no idea the validity of it. That they actually did a reconstruction of Karen Reed's car hitting John O'Keefe's car.
Oh, I don't know. Honestly, I have to read the motion better. I posted them, but I didn't really get to look.
Okay.
Yeah, I do think that a lot of what he's trying to do is to get information about the federal stuff in some roundabout way. I think it's killing some folks to not know exactly the full scope of what all is going on or has gone on with the feds.
Okay, I think I've got that done now. All right, let me set up a stream.
Okay. Shit.
What'd you do? Let me double check and make sure we're still live on the other one. Because it seems to not want to stay live. I don't have anything there yet still.
Ugh. Yes, Travis, give me just a second. Well, maybe a couple seconds. I lost my phone somewhere. I'll be right back.
Okay, so that's set up. Now let me find a stream. Currently, for the Megan Boswell case, we're waiting for the jury to come back after deciding whether she's going to get life with parole or life without parole. I was setting up a stream to cover the Zachary Hughes trial for anybody who's come in later. I think it's on day 3, but we're going to go back. We're going to start with day 1. So I set up a stream for that. So as of right now, we have a poll going in chat for what you guys think the sentence should be. Currently, 76% of you guys think it should be life without parole, and 24% think it should be life with parole. I should have put probably an option of I don't care, because like I said before, I think that it's irrelevant. Let her have parole and let the parole board decide in 50 years. That's kind of where I'm at with it. Or put her in prison forever. I just wanted her to be guilty or found guilty in a courtroom. And I mean, she's not going to be given a short sentence. So yeah, I just don't. Out of those two choices, I just don't care. So let's see. Let's take a look at law and crime. This is day 3. This is pretrial motions. It's day 2. Where the heck is day 1?
You got to keep going back. I think they had it on part 1 and part 2. Like there's 2 parts to part 1. Like, let me look.
Oh, here it is. Okay. Like I don't know attorneys' names or anything. So so it's gonna be up to you guys. Do you guys want to stick around here and wait for sentencing to come back? You want me just to leave the stream up and we could talk about it during the other trial when we do find out? I'm gonna leave it up to you guys. I mean, you guys are the ones that you want to switch over to the other trial and start there, and then we can just say, hey, this is what she was sentenced to, or do you want me to stay on this stream and we can chill for a little bit and watch other stuff about Megan Boswell and do it that way? Yes, switch. Yes, switch. There's 2 of you want to say yes, switch. That's all I got so far. What else you guys want? Anybody like, no, let's stay here? Yeah, I'll leave the stream up on my other screen, so if it does come up, I mean, we can definitely, or I can leave both streams going and we can come back to this stream if you want to do it that way. There's like, you have options. First degree murder, 2 counts of felony murder, child abuse, child neglect, 11 counts of false reports, tampering with evidence, abuse of a corpse, and not reporting a death. 19 counts. Okay, you guys want to do the switch. All right, so I'll end this and I'll just portal everybody over to the other one if you guys want to do it that way.
Will I get portaled?
No.
Oh.
Unfortunately for you, no, you don't get the portal. And we're not going to use Chad Daybell's portal, don't worry. We'll just watch it on the other stream. Okay, I'll just leave this. I'll leave this up on one of my screens and we'll go that way. We'll go that route. Okay, so I'm going to end this stream. It's going to portal you guys straight over to the Zachary Hughes trial for day 1. And we'll see you guys there. Yeah, we're not going to, no storms. All right, see you in a minute.